Hey everyone, and welcome back to the SCREENY. It's amazing just how much a suit or a jacket can make when it's worn by the right person. If you thought that clothes were expensive now, stick a famous person in it, take a photograph, and keep it for 20 years. You'll be able to sell it and make some easy money. We've seen a lot of things on Pawn Stars, but some of these items are worth more than the price of a house or two. Join us as we take a look at some of the most valuable pieces of clothing on Pawn Stars. Before we begin, do us a favor by clicking that like button and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss a video on your favorite TV shows. George Washington suit. This one is a real treasure, beyond anything that we're likely to see again on Pawn Stars. Historical figures can seem like they're lost in time. It's difficult to imagine them as real human beings sometimes, especially when they lived a couple of hundred years ago. Rick was amazed when he visited a special collection featuring a tailor-made suit from George Washington's wardrobe. Given its age, it was a little battered and bruised, but it was still incredible. It's astonishing that it's even still in one piece, let alone able to be displayed on a model. Brian loved the suit as the centerpiece of his Americana collection, but he was willing to put a price on it for Rick, if Rick really wanted it. The big man was interested as he personally felt that Washington was an inspirational man. Dating back to the 1760s, the suit was originally pink, but had faded over the years. To let it go, Brian wanted $3 million. In one of the biggest barters in history, Rick went away and came back with an offer of $2 million, but wasn't able to secure a deal. Superman's costume. We're not talking about Henry Cavill's Superman costume either, although that would have been cool. Rick could barely contain himself when one seller brought in the original Superman costume worn by Christopher Reeve in the 1978 movie. As far as clothing and movie memorabilia go, this is top shelf stuff. Nader wanted to switch up its collection by using the funds from the sale to invest in other items. Corey and his dad had to admit that it was super iconic, especially as it came with a kryptonite crystal. When Nader asked for $300,000, Rick didn't have a clue and wasn't about to splash the cash without talking to his friend Rob. After giving it a thorough going over, Rob said that both items together would sell for over $250,000. That's superhuman for sure. The seller flew out of the shop with the suit and a big fat no deal, but it was still an awesome item for viewers to get a look at. Elvis's coat. Elvis Presley was more than just a singing sensation. He was the epitome of sophisticated chic in his heyday. Of course, as he got older, his style became a little more eccentric, but that's what made him so iconic. It's not every day that Rick stumbles across one of Elvis's coats. Eric had the King's Superfly coat after purchasing it from a museum, but was looking to pass it on for the princely sum of $75,000. Rick called in Jimmy Velvet, the be-all and end-all of Elvis experts. Velvet himself saw the singer in the coat back in the day and thought it would be worth around $55,000. Of course, Rick wants to get a bargain where he can, so he wasn't about to offer that much. The guys went in with a $40,000 offer, but Eric wasn't being swayed that easily. He lowered the asking price down to $45,000, which is hardly small change. It was one of the longest bargaining exchanges on the show, but the seller caved and shook hands on Rick's offer. Kobe's jersey. Sports memorabilia always has a huge following, with fans shelling out tens of thousands of dollars, sometimes more, to get their hands on something from their favorite players. Kyle bought the game-worn signed jersey some time ago, but was hoping to get some cash to travel the world with his son. Kobe Bryant is one of the most influential NBA players ever, having retired in 2016 after 20 years on the court. That being said, Chum knew there was a market out there for it, but what was the the magic number? By looking at it, Chum was able to know that it was one of the jerseys that Kobe wore to the 2010 finals, which was also the last time he played in one. Like any goods collector, Kyle was able to provide a certificate of authenticity, which helped out, especially when you want $25,000 for something. Rick was shocked at the price tag, as was Chum, who simply didn't think it was that cool. An expert confirms that it was real, but said it was only worth $15,000 at retail. The seller refused that estimation.
What? No. I mean, it's the last jersey. I mean, the last time they won the finals.
However, he did lower his price to $10,000. He walked out of the store without a deal, but was later able to sell it for a cool $17,000. Houdini's straitjacket. Harry Houdini is one of the most legendary magicians of all time, known for his escapism act and his seemingly mystical ability to disappear. He's one of the founding forefathers of magic, which is what made him so interesting. We wouldn't have the likes of Dynamo if it wasn't for Houdini. His most famous trick by far was his straitjacket escape, which he performed for the first time in 1899. William believed that the jacket was one of a kind and worth a ton of money, as it was given to his grandfather by Harry's brother Theo. He didn't want to get a buck and some change for it either, instead laying down a ballpark figure of $100,000. Rick wasn't certain if it actually belongs to Houdini, as Theo was notorious for selling fake items to fans. Murray the magician was able to authenticate it by finding some pictures of Houdini wearing the item. William made his own great escape from the gold and silver pawn shop with the jacket still in his possession after failing to take the $20,000 offered. James Brown's jumpsuit. When it comes to singing sensations, James Brown is almost as iconic as Elvis. Known to many as the godfather of soul, Brown reigned supreme in his genre. He was known for wearing jumpsuits, and John was lucky enough to acquire one of the ensembles along with a pair of boots. The only price that would make him feel good? $2,000. Rick liked the item, but was dubious about whether it was actually James Brown's suit, despite the seller having the all-important certificate of authenticity. Cue the customary expert, who confirms that it was indeed one of the star's outfits.
Absolutely correct for James Brown. I think it's definitely his. It's definitely, everything's right for the period of being made in the 70s.
With a valued estimation of $5,000, Rick offered John $2,000, arguing that he would need to get it framed up so he could display it. After a little back and forth, the guy shook hands on $2,100. Not bad for a piece of wool, is it? We're not sure what Rick sold the item on for, but since this was way back in 2015, it's probably danced its way to a new home by now. East-West leather jacket. It's not just hipsters who love a good leather jacket. A decent one can fetch a pretty penny, as Corey discovered last year when a customer brought in a 1960s version. Lily originally bought the jacket for herself to wear, but suspected it might be worth something more when she spotted the label on the inside. Corey called in an expert as he didn't know a thing about it. Jesse arrived to take a look, and what he found surprised everyone. It turns out the jacket was made by a company that specifically catered to the biggest rock stars of all time, like Janis Joplin and Bruce Springsteen. Who doesn't want a jacket that the boss could have worn? Lily was over the moon, going from her original asking price of $500. Corey drew the line at $2,000, and the seller walked away with an added skip in her step. It's not every day you pay a few bucks for something in a thrift store to sell it on for an incredible profit like that. World War II Hell Hawks jacket. War memorabilia has a large market, so one seller was hoping to make bank by parting with his World War II Hell's Hawks bomber jacket. The pilot that wore the jacket survived some serious hits, according to Scott, the owner, who believed it belonged to the captain of the Hell Hawks, a very famous unit that fought the Nazis. Rick thought it was a genuine military jacket, but the back of the neck said US Navy. The Hell Hawks were part of the Air Corps, so alarm bells started ringing.
U.S. Navy.
I'm pretty sure the Hellhawks were U.S. Army Air Corps.
Mark Hall Patton knew a lot about the subject, so he was able to tell that it was from the era, but there was a problem. The jacket did belong to the captain of the Hellhawks, but it was a different group with the same name. That seriously dented the value of the item, bringing the asking price down from $10,000 to $4,000. It then sold for $2,000. Paper dress. Is this item worth a ton of money? No. It's worth peanuts in comparison to some of the other clothes we've listed, but it's so niche and unusual that it's definitely worth mentioning. Lauren popped into the shop to see if she could get some extra cash for her paper dress used in the Nixon campaign. Rick immediately took a shine to it, but was it actually worth anything? Lauren wanted to walk away with $600, but as Nixon wasn't a popular president, Rick didn't want to pay more than a couple of $100 for it. They shook hands on $360, which isn't half bad considering it's literally made out of paper and had been shoved away in a dresser for the last couple of decades. Would anyone actually wear it now? Probably not, but it's a nifty little piece of memorabilia that's worth a second look. Thank you very much for watching today's video. Make sure to subscribe to our channel for more videos on your favorite TV shows and tap one of the 2 videos on screen for another amazing video.